Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances and worship to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all for joining today for His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today, today we have Her Grace Sridevi Mataji. She is going to speak on the topic of Vanaprastha ashrama. Hare Krishna Mataji, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, for accepting this request of mine and coming and speaking on this topic. Is there any verse to share, Mataji?
Yeah, we are continuing the Srimad Bhagavatam series. In that, I will talk about Varnashram. So
okay.
It will be 113.9.
Okay. Sure, I'll just share my screen one second.
Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Praeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttaba Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So please accept my humble obeisances, dear Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to our Gurudev. So, continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam 113.9, this is Dhritarashtra leaves home is the title of the chapter. And in this particular verse, we are going to see how Vidura leaves home and why. So, offering my humble obeisances to all of you, to our dear Guru Maharaj, to the Guru Parampara, to the deities, I humbly pray for your merciful blessings so that I may be able to do justice to this service of speaking a little bit on this Srimad Bhagavatam verse. Verse goes like this. Kaya vritya vartitam vash charad bhikshiti mandalam tirthani kshetra mukhyani sevitani bhutale. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. While traveling on the surface of the earth, how did you maintain your livelihood? At which holy places and pilgrimage sites did you render service? Who's asking this question? Yudhishthir Maharaj is asking this question of Vidur after he has come back from a long absence. He has been away from the palace for a long time. The war is over and now he's come back. So everyone is very eager to hear from him And therefore, Yudhishthir Maharaj, after very hospitably inviting him to sit and wash his feet and offer garland and offer sweet words of welcome, offering him a resting place, feeding him sumptuously. For this is the hospitality one offers to a guest, especially an exalted, saintly personality like Vidur. And later on, we will see how he says that you are actually personification of the place of pilgrimage, for you carry the supreme personality of Godhead within your heart. So he's glorifying Vidur, who is a pure devotee of the Lord. So we have to see what an exalted personality Vidur is, which we will see subsequently. Purport. Vidur went out from the palace to detach himself from household affairs, especially political intrigues. As referred to herein before, he was practically insulted by Duryodhan's calling him the son of a Shudrani, although it was not out of place to talk loosely in the case of one's grandmother. Vidura's mother, although a Shudrani, was the grandmother of Duryodhan, and funny talks are sometimes allowed between grandmother and grandchildren. But because the remark was an actual fact, it was unpalatable talk to Vidur, and it was accepted as a direct insult. He therefore decided to quit his paternal house and prepare for the renounced order of life. This preparatory stage is called Vanaprastha ashram, or retired life for traveling and visiting the holy places on the surface of the earth. In the holy places of India, like Vrindavan, Haridwar, Jagannath Puri, and Prayag, there are many great devotees, and there are still free kitchen houses for persons who desire to advance spiritually. Maharaj Yudhishthir was inquisitive to learn whether Vidur maintained himself by the mercy of the free kitchen houses that is called Chhatra in India. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sangana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Candramauli Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we can see over here why Vidur left the palace, because he felt very insulted by Duryodhan. Duryodhan actually called him the son of a Shudrani. Now, how is it that his mother was a Shudrani? It so happened that Vidur was actually Dharmaraj, and Manduka Muni went to him to ask why he was to be impaled on a lance, because that punishment came to Manduka Muni from the king's soldiers for sheltering some thieves and robbers without his knowledge in his ashram. So when the king's soldiers captured everybody, they captured Manduka Muni, and without thinking, they were going to impale him on a spear. And then suddenly somebody informed the king that they are going to do this to a Muni, a saint. And immediately the king rushed to the spot and stopped that from happening, apologized to Manduka Muni. Manduka Muni knew that it is not the king who is doing this. It is actually Dharmaraj who is meting out this punishment. So without bothering to answer the king anything, he went straight to Dharmaraj and said, why you have allowed this to happen, that I was to be lanced by a spear? And then Dharmaraj told him, when you were a child, you took a very sharp straw and you pierced an ant. So Manduka Muni got so annoyed. He said, what I did as a little child, you are holding that against me. You're not fit to perform the duty of Dharmaraj. I curse you to come as a Shudra in the material world. So that is how he was cursed to come as a Shudra. So Dharmaraj accepted the curse and he was born now as Vidur. So what happened was this. King Vichitravirya was childless. He could not impregnate his wives Ambika and Ambalika. He had 3 queens and he could not impregnate them. And so Vyasadeva, his half-brother, was, in those days, it was allowed that the brother could impregnate the wives of his brother. And so he was asked to do that so that the princely line would continue, the rulership could continue. Now, Vasudeva was a sage and he didn't care for his looks. So he had thick matted hair, he had a very fierce appearance and he looked very frightening. So when he came to Ambika, she closed her eyes in fear at the time of conception. And so Dhritarashtra was born blind. Then when he went to Ambalika, she didn't close her eyes, but she became very pale with fear, seeing what a fierce personality has come into her bedroom. She became very pale with fear. And so it is said Pandu was born very pale skinned, almost like an albino. And then after that, the queens didn't want to have any more such union with Vyasadeva. They were so frightened of him. So what they did for the 3rd time, they had a maid. They had a maid servant, the queens, and they said, you produce the 3rd heir to the kingdom. So then they made her go to Vyasadeva and Vyasadeva impregnated her. She was a Shudrani. And that is how Vidur was born. So though he had a very great sage as a father, his mother was a Shudrani. So he was considered little like a half brother, but a little lower in category as compared to Dhritarashtra and Pandu, who were born completely of royal blood, because both the king and the queen were involved in their conception. So therefore, he's considered the son of a Shudrani. Now, Duryodhana used that to taunt him. Every time he sided means he was not siding with the Pandavas. He was actually speaking dharma. He was speaking on the side of truth and righteousness. But Duryodhana would get very irritated and upset every time he did that. And so in one such instance, he called him the son of a Shudrani. And this happened on quite a few occasions. But on one occasion, when it was said very insultingly, Vidur took strong exception to it. And he felt very insulted. And it is said that in a place where you have no respect, it is better not to stay there. So, heeding that, Vidur decided on the spot to leave and go. So that's how Vidur went away. So, he being a shatriya, he was not willing to accept this kind of talks by Duryodhana. And this is another hallmark of the shatriya class. They do not accept insults to their honor. They consider honor to be more valuable than life itself. So remember Dhruva Maharaj, how insulted he got by his stepmother saying, you cannot sit on the king's lap because you're not born of my womb. So he felt so insulted that he decided to go into the forest, fast and pray and meditate. And that's how he got darshan of Lord Vishnu. So this is the quality of Kshatriyas. They're very righteous, they're very honorable, very brave, very determined, very heroic, very valorous. So he decided that he will go on a pilgrimage. So he just left and he went for a long pilgrimage, and he was actually preparing for the renounced order of life called Vanaprastha ashram, or the retired life for traveling and visiting holy places on the surface of the earth. So the Varnashram system is actually very important for us to understand the various stages of life. You see, the human form of life is so valuable that one must know how to navigate it correctly so that one attains the goal of the human life. The goal of human life is what? To become completely detached from the material energy and completely attached to the service of Lord Krishna. To get back our spiritual form and enter into that sweet, loving relationship, which is completely pure to Krishna, because this is our real nature. Our real nature is what? Pure, loving servitors of Krishna. This is our only identity. This is our only nature. So we are trying to purify ourselves from material desires, material attachments, material entanglements, and come to the point of pure Krishna consciousness, at least in the latter stages of life. And so, in the olden days, people were trained up in that way. First, there was Brahmachari ashram, which is the celibate student life, where the student goes to the home of the teacher called Gurukul and learns so much Vedic knowledge, how to conduct himself, what kind of livelihood is best for him, because the Guru would see the nature of his disciple, what kind of psychological nature he has, whether he's supposed to be a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra, and would train him accordingly so that he could be nicely situated in the proper ashram for making spiritual progress. This was the main purpose of going to a teacher and learning from him, was to get situated nicely materially and spiritually so that one can progress on the goal of human life. So after the first 15, 20, 25 years, brahmachari life, then if he was so inclined, he could enter into grihastha ashram. Or he could continue to remain a brahmachari and serve his spiritual master and continue his life in that way until he reaches the next ashram, which is Vanaprastha ashram. Those who entered grihastha ashram were supposed to enter grihastha ashram with a view to continuing on to Vanaprastha ashram. And then the last stage is Sannyas ashram, which is completely renounced from all material entanglements, all material occupation, and completely devoted to the service of the Lord. That is the very last stage of life. And all of us are encouraged to reach that point. It doesn't mean sannyas is only for one particular class or vanaprastha is only for one. Well, it is said that sannyas is actually only for brahmanas, maybe even for kshatriyas, but not for vaishyas and shudras. They can continue in grihastha ashram, is my understanding. I cannot give you the exact reference because I'm not able to recall, but this was what I heard in one lecture, that sannyas ashram is only for Brahmins. But everyone can reach the point where they're getting more and more purified, more and more detached from the material energy, because we don't want to be entangled in all this. As we grow older, we can see how wise is the system that has been given to us, because needless entanglement in the affairs of this material world only causes more problems. If we continue to remain entangled with wife, children, grown-up children, grandchildren, their children, so on, the entanglement will never end. It will never end. It will go on, and we'll be all the while embroiled in some controversy. One son will say something, another daughter will say something, the third one will say something. There will be fights, there will be intrigues, there will be quarrels over property, quarrels over who is the elder person, what right he has, what right she has, like this. And the mother and father will never be able to get free in order to pursue spiritual life. That is why it was recommended that after 50 years of age, one must detach from family affairs, hand over the reins of the family to the eldest son, leave them in charge of the family business, family house, family everything, and husband and wife should begin the serious stage of Vanaprastha ashram, go to the holy places of pilgrimage, get absorbed in the pastimes of the Lord, in their chanting, in their reading, establish themselves more and more in the service of their guru, and get detached from material life and material entanglements. After some time, as they continue this process, the Vedic injunction was, after some time, the wife will come back to live with her son, grown-up son, who will take care of her, while the man goes on to take sannyas. This was considered the system in those days. Of course, now in Kali Yuga, nobody bothers about all these things except the devotees of the Lord who are serious about making advancement. Even so, since our movement is so young, we don't really hear so much about Vanaprastha ashram because we are still so caught up in the grihastha ashram. We are not even overcoming that. So many times people break up and they marry again. And they begin their grihastha life, maybe second marriage in their 30s or 40s. Then second marriage goes bust. Then again in 50s, they get married. Again, they begin grihastha ashram. they have some more children. So many times you will see people in their 50s and 60s, instead of getting detached, they have just entered Grihastha ashram for the third or the fourth time. So, because our attachments are so deep and they go so many millions of lifetimes, it's not so easy to come out of these things. But the power of the holy name, the power of bhakti yoga is so strong that one who sincerely practices can get out of the clutches of the material energy and become liberated and situated nicely in detachment from all these temporary material relationships and be situated nicely in their Swarup Siddhi. That is a very advanced stage, but it is possible. It is possible. Even now in India, as Srila Prabhupada writes, in all these holy places which are mentioned, Vrindavan, Haridwar, Prayag, Jagannath Puri, Rameshwaram, there are still places where this stage of life is honored. Old people go there and they decide to live out their life in the holy place. They decide to devote themselves to the deity of that place. And because they're simply now going to absorb themselves in the devotional service of the Lord, society recognizes that these people need care, need food, need shelter. And so this chhatra, even now I can recall in my childhood going to the south, and there would be these chhatras where sometimes marriage ceremonies were held, so that the chhatra would be provided with some income. The deity of the Lord was there, and big rooms, big halls were there. And people would support the chhatra by having their children's weddings, upanayanam ceremonies, and other holy ceremonies. Sashti Purti, which is the 60th birthday of the man, it will be celebrated again. So all these things are there, and that is how these chhatras are in turn able to give free food and shelter to those in the advanced stages of life who need support and care in order to fulfill their last destiny, their last sojourn on earth. So we must understand that this life is very, very important for progressing towards Prema Pumartho Mahan, uncovering a pure love of God. We have no time to waste because death is coming. It is round the corner. We don't know when we will have to go. So better to be prepared by preparing right now. Actually, all this life is actually a preparation for death, because our consciousness at the time of death will determine our next life. If we are still thinking about, oh, what about my bank balance? How can I make more money over there? Oh, how can I get that property over there? Oh, how can I manage to have my daughter's marriage happen? Like this, if we go on and on and on, then our mentality will be still occupied with the things and people and relationships of this world. We have to carry out our duties, no doubts about it, but we must do so in a spirit of detachment, knowing that we are simply instruments for the mercy of the Lord, and things will go on even without us. We sometimes think we are so important, the world will come to a grinding halt without us. But believe it or not, the world just goes on its merry way. So many people die every day. Does the world stop? No, it goes on, isn't it? So this should give us some idea of how small we really are, how insignificant we are. But we must use this opportunity. We are not born a cat or a dog or a tree or a hog or a pig or a goat or a fish or a reptile or a worm or a cockroach that cannot think about God. Just imagine, for them, it is just living every moment in fear of being eaten up by someone else. It is just big animal eats smaller animal. It is survival, eating, mating, sleeping, defending. These are the only four things at the animal level. But we have been given the human form of life, which is a very rare opportunity to get out of the cycle of birth and death. So, of course, the young people need to go through Grihastha ashram, but the next stage of life, Vanaprastha ashram, is a very important stage. In this stage, we get the opportunity to get rid of all those things that plagued us when we were young, when we were foolish, when we did crazy things. Now is our chance. We can rectify all that. We can purify ourselves. We can make our sadhana very strong, and we can prepare to go back home, back to Godhead, by taking up the life of austerity. So I would like to share some quotes about Vanaprastha ashram, because we don't speak about it so much. but it's an important ashram, and I wanted to share some quotes by Srila Prabhupada on this ashram. So let me see if I can screen share. I don't know if I can screen share. Maybe I'll read out a few quotes. Brahmachari means student life, more or less student life. And Grihastha means those who are leading family life after the student life. And Vanaprastha means retired life. And the Sannyas life means renounced order of life. So now Srila Prabhupada talks a little bit more about how to get into Vanaprastha life. Time should not be, wasted simply for sense gratification. This is lecture in London, Tittenhurst, September 13, 1969. So far, the problem of sense gratification is there. It should be minimized. It should not be increased. Minimized. Just like according to Vedic system, there are Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. 4 divisions of the society. Vanaprastha means retired life and Sannyas means renounced life. For them, the minimum necessities of life is prescribed. And they should be automatically minimum because they are ordered to beg from door to door and live. The brahmachari is meant for begging. Now, no beggar can live very luxuriantly. That is not possible. It is not possible. So if a beggar goes to somebody's house and says, "Mother, give me some alms," it is not that one is awarding some 100,000s of rupees or dollars. So naturally, they have minimized their needs, only little luxury. So only high standard of life is allowed to the grihasthas according to the Vedic system, and the other 3 sections of society, they should minimize. Why minimize? Because the idea is not to waste time unnecessarily. Now, this is another lecture. One has to take leave from this family life and accept the Vanaprastha state. Vanaprastha means prior to accepting the renounced order of life. Lecture in Chicago, July 8, 1975. One who is a Brahmana, he would not stay in family life more than the 50th year. Pancha Shordvam Vanam Raje. One must go to the forest. Forest means Vana. And therefore, one who goes to the forest from the word Vana is Vanaprastha. Prastha means one who has gone. This is regulative life. One has to take leave from this family life and accept Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means prior to accepting renounced order of life. The husband and wife goes out of the home, travels to many holy places to associate with holy men and take instructions just to prepare for sannyas. So when one is fully equipped in knowledge, then he asks his wife to go home to be taken care of by the elderly children, and then he becomes a sannyasi. This is called Varnashram Dharma. This is the real purpose of life. So these are some quotes that then in another lecture, Prabhupada says, this is Montreal, June 23rd, 1968. Vanaprastha means retired life. That is also another training. First training is brahmachari. He lives a very restrained and regulated life. Then, after satisfying his senses, when he is grown up to the 50th year, he is advised to get out. No more sense gratification. Now you prepare yourself for the remaining days of your life for spiritual culture. That is called Vanaprastha. So Vanaprastha means retired life and training for completely renouncing this worldly life. Then general lecture, September 16, 1969. The injunction is Pancha Shordvam Vanam Raje. Just after your 50th year, you must give up and retire from householder life. That is called Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means you and your wife travel all over the world to holy places of pilgrimage, just to give up your attachment for family life. In this way, when one is completely detached from family affection, then he sends back his wife to the elderly children to take care of her, and he himself takes sannyas, the renounced order of life. This renounced order of life means dedicate completely for the service of the Lord. So you see how important it is to take proper instructions at every stage of life. At every stage of life, it is so very important to understand what is to be done, what is not to be done, when it is to be done, how it is to be done, so that we progress nicely along the goal of the human form of life. So Namrata is asking, kindly share the verse. I can share the link which I used for Vanaprastha to look up Vanaprastha. They're all different, either lectures or talks that Prabhupada gave. I can share that with you all. So you can look at Vanaprastha ashram. Srimati is not.
Mataji, while you are reading, you can share your screen. I made you co-host.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I've sort of finished reading all the quotes, but I'll share it one more time.
Okay.
Here we go. This is about Vanaprastha ashram series of lectures. I quoted the first one. Okay, let's read this one. I'm reading lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam 1841, Mayapur, October 21st, 1974. Therefore, the Vedic civilization is that affection should be cut off compulsorily at a certain age, not that the affection should continue. If the affection continues, then there is no chance of my becoming free from this material world. There is no chance. Therefore, Vanaprastha, because the wife's affection with the wife is very, very strong. So Vanaprastha means husband and wife, they give up their affection. Not give up, they go away from home, they travel in holy places just to purify. And again, when the affection draws, they come to the family. Again, remain for 1 or 2 months, then again go away. So with the wife, there is no sex connection, but the wife remains an assistant to the man to be accustomed how to remain aloof from the family. And then when he is practiced to remain aloof, the wife is sent back to the family to be taken care of by the elderly children. And the man takes sannyas compulsory. Now, who's doing all this these days? No one. I'm not talking about devotees. I'm talking about the world in general. People in their 80s and 90s in the Western world still going to nightclub. And if he's a multi-millionaire, he marries a 26-year-old barmaid or something like that. And then he dies, and then everybody's fighting for his money. The grown-up children call her a gold digger. Why at age 26 you married 89-year-old? You only married for money, so you should not get any share. So there's a big fight. All kinds of things go on, isn't it? People in their 70s, 80s, 90s still running after young girls or young boys. It's pathetic. It's so sad that they're wasting the human form of life by living like animals. This is what happens when one is steeped in ignorance. Ignorance is the main cause of all the problems. Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is bringing light into the lives of everyone so that they can understand the value of the human form of life and not keep getting into this cycle of repeated sense gratification endlessly. And if it come down in a lower form of life, if we continue like animals, very good chances that our next birth will not even be human. And that is such a suicidal policy to follow. So everyone needs to understand Krishna consciousness, God consciousness, and conduct their lives accordingly so that they can attain success. Whenever death comes, we should be ready. We should be saying, when will I see Krishna? Please help me, Krishna, to remember you. I don't want to remember anything else because that will only bring me to take birth again in the womb of another woman, struggling to come out for 9 months, 10 months, and then to be forced out and then live in, having a feeding bottle and pooping and peeing in diapers and going to school. Who wants to do all that over and over again? And believe me, Kali Yuga is only getting worse and worse with every passing day. It's a very difficult world we are living in. We really want to become successful and go back to Krishna. And Krishna consciousness is the only way. Chanting is the only way. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam. Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyatha. In this age of Kali, there is no other means of liberation other than chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. So chant, 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 chant. And don't say can't. To reawaken our love of God, which is already there in our hearts. Dormant love is already there. So my dear spirit souls, let's take Krishna consciousness seriously and go back home, back to Krishna. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for such a nice class and quoting all those verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and explaining us on this topic of Vanaprastha. Thank you so much, Mataji. Devotees, anyone have any questions or comments? You can please go ahead now. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All
Please
glories to
accept
All Guru Maharaj. All glories to you.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada. All glories to our Gurudev.
Thank you for this, for giving this wonderful topic. I mean, for discussing on this wonderful topic. Actually, this is a very less discussed topic, and yes, we had some questions and discussions before, and I also thought of exploring this topic, but never got a chance. I mean, I keep exploring other things, but keep this aside in the list. So yes, thank you very much for discussing this topic today. I also wanted to explore the links which you have shared, so that is why I asked for it. So my question is, when one is coming into Vanaprastha ashram, so the individuals may be in different materialistic condition. Maybe some are singles, some are, the spouse. If the female is there, the spouse is not there, by that time. So there can be many conditions. Even being grihastha, they are separated. Even so, there are a lot of imbalance, especially in Kali Yuga. So this Vanaprastha ashram has, like, anyways, a lot of complications. Then how can even in these complications can one practice?
Yeah, very good question. Because nowadays everything is topsy-turvy. It's not like the couple stays all the way till the 50th year also. It so happens that people divorce, people leave their spouses, or someone dies, or something happens, or they get separated for some reason, so on and so on. All these things happen, So one must see for one's own self. What is my age now? What is the stage of life I am in? What do I really want? Do I want to get married again in case I don't have a spouse? Or do I want to proceed and keep progressing and go on to the next stage of life? That is a very individual decision. Some people may not be able to manage without having another spouse, even if they are 40, 50, 60. They just cannot manage themselves alone. I remember asking my Guru Maharaj, what is this? Because I'm from Indian culture. So for me, it is very strange when people in the Western culture marry 3, 4, 5 times, all the way till 50s, 60s, 70s. One person, very, senior disciple of Prabhupada, when I heard he got married for 4th time, I was aghast. I said, 70-year-old man and again marrying, what is all this? So I remember having a long talk with Guru Maharaj. I said, how we can have respect for such people? They're supposed to be examples for us. We are struggling and we want to make progress and this and that. And so Guru Maharaj explained that everyone is not the same. Everyone is not the same. Everyone may have different needs and different level of spiritual awareness and different levels of material needs. And so for them to be situated in Grihastha ashram may actually be the best, so that they don't go running around polluting too many other women, even if they're in their 50s and 60s. So I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Because for me, it is very clear that if something goes wrong by Krishna's arrangement. Krishna has arranged for that to happen, and we have to accept that and make our Krishna consciousness stronger. This is my viewpoint, but this is me. I can't expect everybody to be like me, and everyone cannot expect me to be like them. They're all highly individualistic cultures and highly individualistic souls, and we all have different karmas from previous lifetimes. What if I have longing for a perfect family life and things like that? I will always feel that lack unless I become very strong in my Krishna consciousness. I will always want the perfect husband or perfect wife and try again and again and again until I get it that there's no perfect anything in this world. But that comes after many lifetimes of struggle. That comes after many lifetimes of trying to enjoy this material world. It's not so easy to give it up. So each of us must make inquiry from our Gurudev. He is the best person to tell you how to navigate that particular stage in your life. Like for me, I didn't want to take Vanaprastha ashram. It was forced on me. My ex-husband decided he wants to marry a young, beautiful girl all over again and continue with his grihastha life. So what to do? So, and I was very clear that I don't want to enter grihastha life again. This is over for me. So Maharaj said, keep moving forward. Don't go backward. And I told him, I have no desire. It's all finished. Thankfully, Krishna removed all such desire from my head. So I really don't have any desire. I only want to be with Krishna now. But that is only because of Guru Maharaj's instructions to me all through my grihastha life, insisting that I chant my rounds, I read the books, I go to the temple program. He was always guiding me to become stronger in spiritual life. So even when such a big challenge came, I was able to not get swayed from the paths. You know, some people, they just cave in and they fall apart. Thankfully, I did not stray away from Krishna consciousness by Guru Maharaj's mercy. And I'm now very happy to be Vanaprastha. It gives me freedom to do so much for Gurudev, to advance nicely in my spiritual life. And as my daughter says, you are actually an example for me. She says that. So I feel at least I've done something right. If nothing else, even if I've done everything else wrong, at least I've tried to follow my Gurudev and follow his instructions. I may not do it perfectly, and I have many faults. I understand that all too well. I'm also struggling with my anarthas. I'm not perfect, but at least I'm on the right path. That's the only thing that I can be confident that following Guru Maharaj is always the best. Is that answering your question?
Yes, quite very much. Thank you. Actually, yes, one of the thought was that yes, if we have a guru, definitely we will inquire from a guru. It is our prime duty. Entering into Vanaprastha, we should inquire. But some of the, if we talk about non-devotees, large mass of people, they are not known, because even being in, being pious, coming from a pious family, practicing religious, rituals from generations to generations, people are still, they really don't know what to do about Vanaprastha life. So I really had this curiosity, because I've seen many people, although being pious, when they retire, they're like, they do nothing, or maybe explore a little bit of religious activities because they're in Vanaprastha, but not Krishna consciousness. And either they continue, their businesses or their curiosity for earning money, their greediness, even in the Vanaprastha ashram. So they keep continuing. So this is very important knowledge for us to understand, that somewhere, if you really want to retire, you need to have a higher taste when you get retired.
Exactly. That is why Krishna consciousness from the very beginning, it should be imparted to the children so that they go on the right road from the very beginning. Because in old age, it is very difficult to change. Very difficult. I mean, my parents, they come from a very pious background, 5 generations of followers of Madhvacharya, but somewhere along the way, they got into just piety and rituals and this and that. They cannot give up coffee. They cannot give up tea. What they're going to take surrender to Krishna? Tell me. How they're going to surrender to Krishna? Because the habit has become very strong. See, once we cross into our 50s, 60s, oh my God, spiritual life is an uphill struggle because we have become so set in our ways. It's like the bamboo. Srila Prabhupada gives the example. When the bamboo is very tender, it can be curved. It can be made to take shape. But when the bamboo becomes very mature, it cannot be bent into any shape. It will break. So the older people are, more difficult it is for them to change their life and practice Krishna consciousness because they have become so set in their ways. Still, Prabhupada says, one who understands the importance and urgency of Krishna consciousness, even if he or she joins at an older age, if they very sincerely and strictly follow and become very submissive and obedient to the orders of the spiritual master, they also can make progress. But in general, it's very difficult for older people. Very difficult.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this discussion. Hare Krishna.
Very nice question. Thank you. Scarlett Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you very. Oh wait, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I must put the wire inside because it's okay now. I'm so sorry. Hare Krishna, thank you very, very much for today's class. I have learned about some couples that one of them is very much wants to be active, spiritually active, but the other one doesn't want. And the other one often is the man. But in the same time, in the same place, so we learn from the Shastra and Veda books that a woman should be submissive to her husband and to follow her husband and to obey her husband, almost to obey her husband. What happens if the man doesn't want at all and even do disturbance for the woman to not to manage her spiritual life just because he wants it the other way? What to do for this woman? What should this woman do? No, I don't want, I would divorce you, bye, I'm gone. Or no, accept to stay there and just beat it up and just accept it as it is and just continue live together.
Yeah. So as long as he's not an obstruction, as long as he's not preventing her, as long as he's not acting as a, coming in the way of her Krishna consciousness, there's no problem. They can stay together and she can continue her practice. But if he is actively opposing, if he is being demoniac and saying, no, you cannot practice, you cannot go to temple, you cannot do this, you cannot. Prabhupada says a woman should not remain in the service of such a fallen rascal. Prabhupada says this. A woman should not remain in the service of such a fallen rascal. This is the only instance where a woman can actually leave such a husband to pursue her spiritual life. And Krishna will protect her because she is trying to do her dharma and he is coming in the way of that. Not only is he not doing what he's supposed to do, which is to lead the family towards Krishna consciousness, but now he's actively preventing her. So Prabhupada says very clearly, a woman does not have to remain in the service of such a fallen rascal. But every situation is unique and should be presented to the spiritual master for guidance. I'm just quoting Prabhupada. It doesn't mean now every woman should just take it into her head and do whatever. She must take guidance of her spiritual master. And the spiritual master will guide her accordingly. I know so many women whose gurus told them nothing doing, divorce him, leave, go to Mayapur, go and practice spiritual life. The spiritual master told the wife to do this. So every case is different. And the woman should seek the guidance of her guru so that she can, every time we must work under authority. We should not act independently or whimsically. We must act under the order of guru, sadhu and shastra for every major decision in life, every, without fail. So then they can guide us properly and we are safe, we are protected, we don't have to worry. You see?
My next, how to say, wonder or question is, we have learned about addiction is kind of sickness, like people who are addicted to the alcohol or to the drugs. It's kind of sickness. It's not that there are people that they really want to stop it, but they can't. And then it has been studied that it's kind of sickness. It's you're sick. When you're addicted to something, you are sick. So how do devotee could make it if he or she has this sickness?
Well, we are all addicted to some bad habit or the other. Even we as devotees, we are all addicted to so many things. I'm addicted to being late for everything. I'm still struggling with trying to be on time. I try to do 15 different things and I'm always late. I mean, people are fed up, I think, of me now by now, because they know, oh, this Mataji will always be 10 minutes late. But I'm trying to improve. Then some of us are addicted to being on the internet. Some are addicted to Facebook. Some are addicted to Instagram. Some are addicted to... So like this, we all have addictions, even devotees. We are addicted to sweets. We are just waiting for the Mahaprasadam plate to come out and grab the sweets from the Mahaprasadam plate. The devotees who are addicted to sweets. I mean, we all have bad habits. We all have addictions. So what exactly are you trying to say? If the person is addicted to alcohol and drugs, yes, that is very serious and it has to be treated. It needs treatment. You can't just say, oh, it's okay. No, the person needs treatment.
No, what I mean is, unfortunately, sometimes I get the feeling that such a people get judged by their sickness, but it's not the personality. It's not their personality. They want to stop it, but they can't because they are sick. But they get judged, and there are devotees who judge them. You know what I mean? They are devotees, they are sick, and then there are other devotees who judge them by saying a bad habit, being demonic behavior, and so on and so on. How can these people get help? Is there any help for them?
There's Alcoholics Anonymous, there's the 12-step program. Those who are addicted to drugs, there's Narcotics Anonymous. There are so many groups to help such people, and they need that support and they need the help to come out of that addiction. And there are so many programs, those who really want to come out of it. There are many rehabilitation programs for such people. So they can attend that and get well.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for this nice discussion. Even I was having so many questions on this particular topic. So what exactly, so when we are insulted, like as how it is mentioned in the purport, so usually we remember our own position, like when we are insulted. So usually, and in devotees, in Krishna consciousness, it says that we should not expect any respect or anything, and we should be always like a servant to others. So at which point is that where we feel insulted, Mataji? Like,
Well, Prabhupada says one should be practiced to tolerate insults and dishonor, because when one is trying to be Krishna conscious, there will be so many opposing elements. Go to 13 Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, verses 8 to 12. Adam Vitvam, Amanitvam, it begins like that.
Yeah.
And there, let's look at the description of tolerance. It's a very beautiful description. And that will give you an idea of what we as devotees are meant to do in difficult conditions. Because so many people will say so many things to insult us, dishonor us, hurt us, to poke fun at us, to criticize us, just because they don't like what we are doing. Just because of that. See over here, go down. It is like the 5th or the 6th. Go way down in the purport.
Tolerance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes under tolerance. Go way down in the purport. Yeah, tolerance.
Yeah.
Oh, it's there right here. Okay. Tolerance means that one should be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. If one is engaged in the advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insults and much dishonor from others. This is expected because material nature is so constituted. Even a boy like Prahlad, who only 5 years old, was engaged in the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, was endangered when his father became antagonistic to his devotion. Father tried to kill him in so many ways, but Prahlad tolerated him. So there may be many impediments in making advancement in spiritual knowledge, but we should be tolerant and continue our progress with determination. So tell me about it. Our relatives will not like us, our family will not like us, they will shun us, they will avoid us, or they will speak ill of us, or they will make fun of us. They will say so many things. But what to do? What to do? We have to just accept, okay, what to do? I have chosen this way of life. I believe in it. We must have conviction that by following Prabhupada, we will see Krishna face to face. This conviction we should have. Then everything is worth it, isn't it? Let them say what they want. My cousins, even now, they tell me, we just want Dr. Lakshmi back. This Mother Sridevi, all this, they cannot stand it that I'm a Hare Krishna. They want me to go back to materialistic life, make big money, have a big hospital, so that they can say very proudly, look, our sister is a big doctor. They think, wow, what a crazy woman. Kitna waste. MD kiya, PhD kiya, aur ye sab Hare Krishna mein. What is she doing? But they don't see how happy I am in Krishna consciousness. They don't see how much peace I have being in Krishna consciousness. They don't see those things. And I don't want to be involved in material life anymore. I'm thankful that all that phase is over. Meeting Guru Maharaj has been the best gift Krishna has given me in this lifetime. That's all I want, to go back to Krishna. Finished. I've wasted many precious lives. Now I'm coming home. Coming home, coming home, never more to roam. Open wide thine arms of love, Krishna, I'm coming home. This is all I want. Go back to Krishna. No more taking birth and suffering in this material world again. No more. Finished. You please bless me, all of you. Give me kicks if you like, so that with your kicks I will go further.
Everyone needs those kicks, Mataji.
Me especially.
Me too. Yeah.
So,
Sometimes, yes, Mataji. Yeah, sometimes we may not able to handle some situations when these comes, and we get irritated, and so yeah, at that time it's very difficult to think like this. But yeah, I heard in one lecture that one Prabhu or Mataji, somebody said that you are not in the position of Prahlad, right? So you are in better position. So why don't you tolerate? Nobody is killing you. Nobody is trying to kill you or do something to you. So you can tolerate all these things. But it's very hard to remember at that actual time.
See, our strength comes from the quality of our chanting. The
Yeah.
more we chant with attention, with devotion, with focus, with determination, I want to connect with you, Krishna. I want to feel your mercy, your love, your protection. The more we will chant with love and devotion and attention. If we do that one thing, we will put on an armor. Don't forget that becoming a devotee means being in a war. War against the illusory energy. Make no mistake, we are in war. Every day our war begins at 7 o'clock in the morning. So before that, we have to put on our armor. And what is the armor? Chanting the holy name. That is our only protection against all the attacks of Maya for the day. Maya will attack. And she knows all our weak points very nicely. So she will come. And she will catch us. So when the attacks come, we should be able to withstand those attacks. And that strength comes from the quality of our chanting. So therefore, if we want to make advancement, we must really make the holy name our top priority in life. Srila Prabhupada says, all our advancement comes from chanting the holy name. And at one point he said 90%, 95% and another time. And then once he said 99% of our advancement depends on the quality of our chanting. So you see how important it is. Yesterday Guru Maharaj gave that lecture. I want to hear it again and again. It's so powerful.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. Yeah. Scarlett Mataji, you have another question?
Yeah, Scarlett has a hand up.
Today I'm not so good in the technique. I can understand when it's the situation is outside of devotee's life or non-Krishna devotee's life. If someone come and chastise and say something to make you angry, to put you down and so on, that is another thing. But what I wonder, if this happen, chastisement or letting someone down and putting someone down and talk down to someone within the movement, how to understand that. For instance, as young, I always talk to my children, don't ever criticize each other before you know yourself that you don't do it yourself. First of all, wait until if you want to criticize someone, think about it. Am I okay with that? Am I doing wrong or right every time before I go and criticize? This was my teaching to my children. And what I don't understand, if this happened within the movement, how to translate that? Tolerance, of course.
Yeah,
But
many
when
times
it
when
happens
we come
that
to-
people talk down to you within the movement, how to do it? What to do it?
Yeah, that is true. See, when we come to Krishna consciousness, or when people sometimes join a church or something, they suddenly expect that everything will be beautiful, wonderful, hunky-dory, everybody will treat me like I'm in the spiritual world, and they feel very disappointed, me included. I also went through that. When they find, oh my God, this is a devotee, and they are behaving like this, and they are talking like that, and so on. So we must remember that we are coming into this Krishna consciousness with many lifetimes of bad habits. So this lifetime of bad habits is not going to disappear just because I joined the Hare Krishna movement. Just because I've joined the Hare Krishna movement, if I have been a thief before joining the Krishna conscious movement, all the while I'll be trying to steal someone's bead bag or look to see, have they left their purse over there by mistake, I'll grab it. Because these things are very deep. These habits we have acquired over millions of lifetimes. They're not going to go away so easily. So I have come across thieves in our Hare Krishna movement who have stolen other devotees' jewelry, gold, diamonds, whatnot. Why? Because it's a habit. It's a bad habit. And only by the power of practicing Krishna consciousness continuously, begging for the mercy of the holy name, these anarthas are very deep rooted. They're not going to go away overnight. So therefore, we will come across all kinds of people. Some are thieves, some are gossips. I know one lady, she cannot stop gossiping about other devotees. She just cannot. Every second sentence out of her mouth is to gossip about someone. She loves gossip. That's just her nature. It has become her nature. It's not her real nature. Real nature is Satchit Ananda. This is a false, secondary nature we have acquired due to material contamination. So some people come with a bad habit of criticizing others, dishonoring others, insulting others, stealing their things, gossiping about others. So many bad habits from so many lifetimes. So some are very obvious, some are not so obvious. Some are very clever in putting on a very sweet facade, and then they cheat people of their belongings, of their land. All this is going on even in Mayapur. So what can we say? Nobody is a pure devotee suddenly overnight. Everybody is in the shower, as Prabhupada would say. We are all getting clean. So we must learn to discriminate. We must be very careful whom we associate with. We should not give our trust, just to anyone. We should evaluate. We should see their reputation. We should see how they are. We should take our time, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, get to know them before we give our trust to someone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice question. When I joined the Hare Krishna movement, I expected everybody to be, like Prabhupada said, one wonderful family. So I thought all the senior devotees will treat me like a child. I'll get mother's love from the temple president's wife. I'll get father's love from the temple president. All the people will be like uncles, aunties, and everybody will be my family. Tough luck. I got the very opposite. So
I don't think that way. When I came to the movement, I never thought everything will be perfect here. I never thought about that, because I have listened to Prabhupada's lecture also, and he says there is no any pure devotee nowadays, because we are in Maya, in Kali Yuga, and Maya do this work, and I understand that. But still there are devotees that they have been in movement in many years, and they know all the regulation, all the principle, and so on, and still they behave very strangely. They talk down to someone, and that's why I wonder, this person has been in movement in so many years and practiced the Krishna consciousness, still doing this. What is that? Is it okay? Is it means because this person has been a devotee in many years, that she get to do that because she's a pure person? And Krishna and Prabhupada says there are no pure devotees at the moment.
Who said that? Who said that? Who said there are? Of course, there are pure. Our Guru Maharaj is a pure devotee.
I don't mean spiritual master. I mean within
even
the
without being a spiritual master, Scarlett, there are many pure devotees in our movement. They may not advertise, they may not be known, they may not have GBC position, but there are many senior devotees who are pure in our movement. So don't blanket statement like that there are no pure devotees other than spiritual master. That's wrong. That's one thing. Secondly, don't look at those people who are poor examples. Why do you keep looking at those people who are pure examples? Look at people who are good examples. Look at our Guru Maharaj. Look at Srila Prabhupada. See, we should always look towards inspiring role models. Don't gaze at those who will pull you down, make you upset, make you feel sad, don't go that route. Just keep your focus on those devotees who will actually inspire you in Krishna consciousness, who will make you feel, wow, I want to become like that devotee. Look at her good quality, or look at his good quality. We should very actively seek good association. We should very actively seek good association. Then it will come, because Krishna will see, oh, this person is trying to improve. I will send them whatever they want. So we can pray for good association. We can try our level best to seek good association. When saintly people come to our temple, we should fall ourselves to serve them, to hear from them, to learn from them. We should grab every opportunity we get to be near them and do something to serve them, because they can give you knowledge. They can give you, just being in the presence of a pure devotee is purifying. Like Chintamani, touchstone. So seek that association and forget about those who are poor examples, because it's very discouraging, very disheartening to see those people. And I can understand, because for 20 years, I lived with people who were so traumatized, who were so stuck. And I used to every day pray, oh my God, Krishna, please don't let me become like this in my old age. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like this. So I empathize with you, because I went through that and it was very difficult. Because, and then when I would tell my GBC, I said, what is all this? He said, you be a good example. Don't expect others to change. You become exemplary. So then I resolved, okay, if nothing else, I will try my level best to become Krishna conscious. I will try my level best to give up my own bad habits. I will work very hard on my anarthas so that I become a halfway decent devotee. So I took responsibility for my own self because there was no other choice. I cannot change them. I cannot do anything. I can pray for them, and I prayed for them, but that's all I can do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice question.
Namita Mataji, you raised your hand previously. You want to share anything?
No. I think Sridevi Mataji said it all. I just wanted to share one incident, what happened, what Scarlett Mataji was saying, but I think Sridevi Mataji gave enough examples, so that is fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, even I'm looking towards inspiring people only nowadays, like not looking towards others who are not very much inspiring. Yeah, when I'm trying that. Yeah, thank you.
And many times when we are getting upset or disappointed or irritated, annoyed, actually there is something in us, something that needs to change in us. I have experienced that myself, and I've been praying very hard for a few days. See, when we are trying to change other people, it is actually Krishna trying to change us. He wants us to change.
Yes, Mataji.
And
Guru Maharaj also told, right, once, what is that in you which is triggering that type of feelings?
Yes, we
yeah.
need to work on ourselves actually.
Yeah.
See, in this Krishna consciousness, there is only one person to compete against, your own self.
Of course, when someone has been gone through, for me, I'm talking about me. When I have been gone through the life and I have experienced it and seen so many ugliness, of course I am more sensitive when I see these things. I immediately can see it because I remember it has happened to me. I remember it. Of course, it must be the experience I have done in my I have gone through in my life makes me more sensitive and more alert to see it than someone who has not gone through such experience. You know what I mean? That's
Possible.
why.
Yeah, possible.
Yes. Thank you.
So use that to in turn not hurt others, to be more sensitive to their needs, to not be critical of them, because you know how much it hurts when people do that to you. So in turn, we become even more careful in our behavior towards others. We become very sensitive to not hurt others. We become very compassionate and empathic towards their struggle because we have gone through so much. So these are gifts actually. Krishna puts us through all this. It is like, diamond. Only by friction it shines more. So Krishna puts us through all this to bring us out like gold going through fire. It becomes more shining as a result of all that, isn't it? So Krishna is purifying us. Who is P? I don't understand. Who is P, Srimati? Parikshit Prabhu?
No idea.
Or someone else?
Yeah, it's me.
Hare Krishna, Parikshit Prabhu. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Yeah, accept my humble obeisance. It's all glory to Shri Prabhupada. I was in for a little while, then I had to go out, talk to Andrea, and came back on again.
That's okay. Thank you for being with us. Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much for your kindness in joining us today.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Thank you. So anybody have any questions or any comments?
You were talking about how happy you were to the point that you were even singing about the fact that you were not dealing with too much of the material energy. This is Dr. Lakshmi Sridevi Mataji. I can relate to that, but just want to stress also the importance of what Guru Maharaj Candramauli Swami has said about the way we're living our lives now and where we need to get to. I was just mentioning to Ashria this morning, just when I got off and came back, and I said, the Amish are already living that way. They don't have Krishna consciousness, but they are living in clusters. literally now. The Amish, and there's already been a study done here in the United States to find out which communities were the happiest. So then that study has been done. In fact, the Amish came out on top. And they live simply, they have land. Of course, they use horses rather than cars and so on. But the important thing that's very similar to what we are being advised now to do is that they live in clusters. They have a large area of land, they build their houses. And boy, I'm just thinking if we would do that, how much devotee association would get and how happy we would be.
Oh my gosh, Parikshit, I'm dying for that to happen. You've just literally spoken the words in my heart. I'm just dying to get some land here in Mayapur, and even 4 or 5 families, if I can just bring them together, raise our kids together, do kirtan together, help each other, being there for one another. What a difference it would make to our lives. Even as we are speaking, one young mother is leaving Mayapur with her children and going back to her native place because her husband has deserted her. She has nowhere to go. She has no money. She has no income. I mean, it's a very difficult situation, and I understand because her mother is calling her back. So she has to go because she needs some shelter. If we had a farm community going, this woman would be protected by the community. Her children would not have to leave Mayapur. She would not have to leave Mayapur. She would have shelter within the family of devotees. She wouldn't have to worry. Now I have to get a job. Now I have to do this. Now I have to raise my children. Now I have to send them to school. I have to pay so much for school fees. Her mind is racing like crazy. How to make money? They have to get married. They're girls. They're dowry. This thing. I said, oh my God, what a storm is unleashed in this poor woman's life because her husband has just deserted her. Now, if first and foremost, it's very unlikely if there's a strong family atmosphere, the other men would be there to chastise this young man and say, come on, behave yourself. You can't just desert your wife. There would be some social pressure. But everybody being alone in their own flats, no one knowing what is happening in the neighbor's house. People think they can do anything, anyhow. No relationships in the community. No one cares about anyone. What is this life? Is this life? This is not life. So I'm just praying to Krishna, please show us the way to save the future children, to save the future families. So much is at stake here. Our whole Krishna consciousness movement is going through so much. And how we will go forward if we don't make strong community happen. Strong community cannot happen in when devotees are scattered all over the place. We have to come together and do something.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
Krishna.
the first thing is Krishna has all the means. When we, as they say, heaven helps those who help themselves. When we start, and the start is obviously talking about it, and wonderfully, it's wonderful that we have a book now, Krishna's Way. It's there,
Yeah, it's there.
protecting the cows and living together. The next thing I think is to find ways to bring the money together to get land, to begin to get land. And then from there, the few devotees that would move to the land, the see people are happier, then it would be organic like that. Other people would just also try to change their situation to come to the same line, like that. And it should be done in pockets all around the world. All around the world. That's the bigger picture. But yeah, maybe we just start with where you live now, start talking to people, to devotees. Bring the idea up, keep bringing the idea up, and then you get a meeting together, and then you talk more about that.
Parikshit Prabhu, I have no experience in doing this. I have never done anything of the sort. I have never lived, I've lived on a farm in New Talavan, but I never did anything connected with farming. I was just giving lectures in the temple and that taking care of my home and doing my therapy. I was not directly involved in anything other than taking care of guests from time to time and so on. So I will need help. I will need guidance. I will need people more experienced in this to give some tips, how to go forward. Okay, I got the land. What do I do next? I will have to ask you, Parikshit Prabhu, how to do it, what to do, how to get people to come together, what next? I remember saying, Guru Maharaj saying, first thing is grow your own food. Agriculture must come first, because only from that, then you can also feed the cows. You can feed each other.
Yeah.
So we have to build houses. We have to build eco-sustainable houses. I'm against all this cement and all this thing, which is so harmful to the environment, you know. I want simple mud houses that are breathable. So we don't spend, you know, an arm and a leg on air conditioning and all that. I want eco-sustainable architecture. I want really simple lifestyle, which is off the grid. I want solar. I want gobar gas. I want rainwater harvesting, seed conservation, so many things. I think
Yeah.
I've shared with you the 7 purposes that we all, you know, came up with for a eco village. So I don't know. This is at the moment we are talking about it.
Let's talk some more about it, because you've mentioned quite a few things now in general that needs to be done, and the details we can share.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Even you and I do, you know, one-on-one discussions and texts and so on, back and forth, and you can share from India, and I'll do it from the United States also. But yeah, it's definitely possible. I wanted to do that in Gitanagri, but that's another story. You know, we got into, you know, so political things came up, and people, you know, Maya and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not bringing it here, but the idea is definitely
Yeah, we have to come
been
together
put
and do
out, and we
something,
can do it.
at least for the sake of our children, our grandchildren, and the future. Because
Yes.
I see so many kids already addicted to the cell phone, to video games, because they have nothing to do. They
Yeah.
have no engagement. But then what to speak of teenage children? They have tried everything in Mayapur. They have tried everything possible: alcohol, drugs, illicit sex, everything already.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a bad situation. We have to be literally rescued and put into this
I mean, a
this
huge
proper way of living.
Yeah, TOVP, a huge world's biggest temple coming up. People will come and then they'll say, okay, what is your lifestyle? Oh, we're still scrounging for money here and there. We're trying to, where is that lifestyle that we're supposed to show people? Simple
Yeah,
living,
that's
hard
not gonna
living.
work.
Where is that lifestyle? Where is the farm community? Where is the cow protection? There is no ahimsa milk in Mayapur.
Mm. Wow.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk more about it, because I know we can just go for hours and hours and hours on this, but let's talk. You and I put our heads together, and then we'll bring more people. Krishna will open the way if we really want to do it.
I'm sorry, may I say,
Yes, please.
for
Go ahead.
instance, I would very much love to encourage my children to do. I can't do it. I'm old and I don't have the physical possibility, but I'm trying little by little to talk to my children and to make them to think about living simple farm life and so on and start to telling them to buy a land, buy somewhere to have a farm, everything good, and not eat meat, and so on and so on. But to do it in India, I learned it from you, Sridevi, that you can't buy land and cultivate anything. Someone else has to do it, but you buy it, but in someone else's name, right? Because
Well, I cannot, because I am a overseas citizen of India. I have a US passport. So
exactly.
I cannot, I think, directly buy land unless I get
Exactly.
my Aadhaar card or something. I mean, there are ways around it. I don't know how.
Exactly.
I have to figure it out.
Exactly.
But yeah.
That I learned from you, exactly. And now I'm bewildered to how to say it. Then I thought maybe I can encourage them to do it in Sweden, because we live in Sweden and we know all the law, all the regulation, we know everything. And in Sweden, we don't have either so much. There is ahimsa milk, but not too much, because there is only one farm which working very well, and it's in Stockholm, and it's not enough for everybody to get some, to buy some. So that's why I thought maybe it would be best to do it in Sweden. What do you think about that, though?
Yeah, wherever we are, we can try and do it, because Krishna, Srila Prabhupada wants Krishna consciousness all over the world. The golden age, 10,000 years of flourishing Krishna consciousness is going to happen now. 5,000 years upswing. Of course, the next 5,000 years, slowly it will go down, but we are on the upswing. Lord Chaitanya wants this movement to be spread all over the globe. So wherever we are, we can make a beginning. We can make a beginning. It doesn't mean everybody has to come to India. Whoever is in India must do it here in India. Whoever is in Sweden or Germany or France, they do it where they are. So you have 6 children. Wow.
Yeah.
And you 7. So 7 people together can surely do something wonderful. And you're
Yeah.
so sincere, Scarlett. You're very sincere. Your heart is totally sold out to Prabhupada, to Guru Maharaj, to this Krishna conscious philosophy. So I'm very sure that once you make up your mind, you will definitely do something. I'm very sure of it.
Thank you. I know I am home. I am at home in the
Yes.
movement. I'm at home. I'm at home with the Krishna consciousness. That I'm not going to leave it. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do everything I can. I am very, very fallen. So I have my kind of how to say things that, for instance, I have dyslexia, and it makes it very difficult for me to read and to follow up with the texts and so on and so on. But I do my best. What can I do?
Yeah. I can see that you're pretty quick. You can do good. You can grasp very well what we speak. So everybody has something. Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna has given everybody some talent. The thing is to use it in Krishna's service. That's all that is required.
Exactly. I will do my
Thank-
best to talk to so much that I can to my children and to make them to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, and don't give up.
No,
give up.
no, no, no,
Don't give
no,
up.
no, I will not. I will
If
not.
Advaita Charya had given up, Lord Chaitanya would not have come to the world. He kept
No, no.
going on and on and on until it happened. That's
Exactly.
an example.
I promise. I'm not going to give up. I promise. Thank you.
Wonderful.
So
Hare Krishna.
Srimati had to go, so she left. So unfortunately, she has other commitments, so she left. Now we are at 6 o'clock in the evening over here. So I don't know, it's morning for y'all, but 6 o'clock is evening over here in India. So with your permission, I will end the class. We have gone on for a long time,
Yeah.
but we can stop now. Is that all right?
Very much
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Go and check out for Mr. Kripas.
Yeah.
Utitana.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear. So enlightening to be with all of you. Hare Bol.
Haribo. Okay.